Welcome to the Cyber Brief Project. If this is your first time listening, I explore creative and unexpected cyber attack techniques. The goal is to make you understand how attackers think, what they choose to target, and how you, as defender, can improve the way you see and respond to threats. Today, we will take a closer look at one particular attack technique. We will break it down step by step, understand why it works, and consider what it means for defense. So, let's get started with today's episode. Let's talk about a WordPress backdoor technique that doesn't depend on breaking into the system through a vulnerability. Instead, it quietly misuses a built-in feature in a way most defenders never think to check. Now, before we go deeper, it's important to understand something. We're not going to explain exactly how the attacker first got into WordPress. That initial access could have happened in many different ways. It might have been through a vulnerable plugin or theme. It might have been with stolen or brute-forced credentials, or it could have been through a compromised hosting account. What matters for this discussion is that by the time researchers spotted the attack, the intruder already had the ability to place files on the site and run code. From there, the technique they used to stay hidden is what makes this so interesting. They didn't hide in the database alone or bury code deep inside a theme file. Instead, they placed their backdoor inside something called must-use plugins, often shortened to MU plugins. In WordPress, these are special plugins stored in a folder called WP Content/MU plugins. They load automatically for every page, for every visitor, without needing to be turned on. They don't appear in the normal plugin list in the WordPress dashboard. And here's the key point. You can't turn them off from inside WordPress. The only way to remove one is to log directly into the server and delete the file. That's why attackers like them. They run quietly, and they're easy to overlook. In the case researchers uncovered, the attacker placed a file called wpindex.php in that MU plugins folder. This file wasn't the main malware. It was a loader, a small program whose job is to fetch the real malicious code from a remote server and run it. The address of that server was hidden using a basic cipher called ROT13, where each letter is replaced by the 113 places later in the alphabet. So, A becomes N, B becomes O, and so on. It's not strong encryption, but it keeps the malicious link from being obvious. Once the loader retrieved the second stage code, it stored it in the WordPress database under a disguised entry and executed it. From there, the attacker began building persistence. They placed a hidden file manager in the site's theme directory, naming it pricingtable3.php. This gave them the ability to browse, upload, and delete files directly from the web. Next, they created a rogue administrator account called Official WP and installed a malicious plugin to give themselves even more control. They also reset the passwords for common administrator usernames, like admin, root, and WP support, to a password only they knew, ensuring they could lock out legitimate site owners. What makes this attack so effective is the way all these pieces work together. If one access point is removed, another can recreate it. If the admin account is deleted, the hidden file manager can put it back. If the malicious plugin is removed, the loader can reinstall it. It's a self-healing backdoor. The key takeaway is this. Persistence doesn't always come from sophisticated zero-day exploits or complex malware. Sometimes it comes from quietly abusing normal platform features. For WordPress defenders, The MU plugins directory should never be ignored. It may not appear in the dashboard, but anything in that folder runs automatically. If you're not checking it, you're giving attackers the perfect place to hide. In this case, the backdoor wasn't just added to the site. It was built into its very foundation. And as long as that foundation stays untouched, the attacker stays in control. I'm sharing these techniques to help defenders like you think more clearly about how attackers really operate. If this raised a new perspective for you, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who would value the same. Thank you for listening.